Clocking signal in concurrent assertions. As you have already learned, you should add a clocking signal or clocking event into all concurrent assertions because all of them are cycle-based assertions. Commonly, you will use this general clock as the clocking block to all concurrent assertions, but also you can add other signals or other variables as the clocking variables in the concurrent assertions. But in that case, you should be careful about the behavior of the assertions because the concurrent assertions are always executed based on the sampled value from the previous time region. So it will be clear by looking at an example here. So here are two assertions, two property defined. One is property A and other one is property B. Both of them are checking for the same property, which is either enable 1 or enable 2 is high all the time. But the clocking event for the first property is defined as the same signals enable 1 or enable 2. But for the second property, the clocking event is given as a positive edge of clock. Now, let's see what will happen in a simulation. Assume that at any point in time, this is a clock signal and this is the enable signal 1 and enable signal 2. In case of the property A, which is not using any clocking signal, any clock signal for the clocking event, but just using the enable 1 or enable 2. This is the point where enable 1 is changing. So this is the first point when this property is getting evaluated. So you can see that at this point, either enable 1 or enable 2 should be high, because at this point the sampled value from the previous time slot is these values which are 1 and 0. So this property will be satisfied. But at the second evaluation point when enable 2 is changing, because enable 2 is also given as a sensitivity list in this property. So at this point enable 2 is changing and the concurrent assertions will be evaluated with the values of the previous time region, which is enable 1 is 0 and enable 2 is also 0. Even though enable 2 is going to high at this point, it won't be reflected at this point when the assertion is evaluated, and this will cause the assertion to fail at this point. But if you're using a clock signal as the clocking event to this property, so this is the first point where it is evaluated. The clock is getting changed and the positive edge of clock is this one, and here in the previous time slot enable 1 is high and enable 2 is low, which will satisfy this property. And in second positive edge of the clock at this, which is at this second green line, you can see that the change in enable 2 is also visible at this point. So enable 2 will be high at this point and enable 1 will be 0. Therefore, this will also satisfy this assertion. In short, in the concurrent assertions, if you are using any other signal other than the clock signals in the clocking event of the property definition, you should be careful about the behavior of the signals. Make sure that you are using only when it is intended to do. Adding default clocking block. As you know, you must always add a clocking block or clocking signal to all the concurrent assertions. If in a module, if you're defining a lot of assertions and if all of them are using the same clock signal, then it's easy to define a default clocking block for that particular module. That clocking block will be applied to all assertions without a clock specified in that scope. So here is an example. Here within a module, my module, I have defined two properties without any clocking block signals. But before that, I have defined a default clocking block as a positive edge of clock. So the clocking and enclocking is again system Verilog specific keywords in order to define clocking blocks, and you can make a clocking block as default by adding this default keyword. Therefore, default clocking and enclocking will define a default clocking block for this particular scope.